Hello, this is Mrs. Porter. We're reading This Is Not a Drill, and we are on page 100, chapter 11, Emery. Look, Miss Emery, mine is 11 animals, Kimberly announces proudly, holding up a picture book. Great. How am I going to reward the winner of the animal counting contest in a room full of made-up numbers? Terrific, Kimberly, I tell her. Anyone else have more? No one speaks up. Then Kimberly is the winner, with 11 animals in her book. I'm not waiting for anyone to argue. 11 is not a number, Alicia complains, very irritated. It is today, Alicia. By God, 11 is a number today. I'm exhausted and I haven't even had a chance to show Jake what I found in Miss Campbell's purse. When I was searching for insulin and found her phone, I thought maybe it was dead, but when I touched it, it lit up. She was totally convincing when she told Stutz her cell phone was broken. Talk about a poker face. Willa Campbell is a world-class bluffer. It would be hard to text or email for help without Stutz seeing, but if we can use the phone's hotspot to bring up the internet on the computer without him knowing, we might be able to communicate with the police. If Stutz doesn't know we have internet, he might let us use the computer for the kids to play games. Mason whines, I want to go outside. Do we get to go home today? Being locked in a room with Stutz all morning is starting to wear on all of us. The kids need a diversion. I get up and walk to where Stutz is sitting. Look, we're trying to keep the kids quiet, but it would help if we had something fun to do. Will you let us see if there are any games on the teacher's computer? They could take turns. No computer, he growls. We can unhook the internet. It's just that blue cord that connects to the wall right there. The school system's too cheap to pay for wireless. Jake's looking kind of puzzled, not sure why the computer game idea is important, but he goes with it. He walks over and pulls the cord from the wall and puts it on the table near Stutz. No connection. He points to the computer. See for yourself. Stutz doesn't answer. Simon and Kenji are looking at him pleadingly. Patrick sinks lower in his seat. He's sure he won't be included in any group activities. I notice he rarely looks at his father. Stutz glances over as Jake opens the programs and finds several games. Just games, man, he says to Stutz. We'll keep the kids out of your hair. Stutz grunts and turns away, which seems to be amazing. Yes, or at least I don't care. The kids are all waving their hands. Mason's yelling, Me, pick me. I want to go first. Hold on a second. I reach for Miss Kyle's flower pots. Every morning when the kids come in, they pick up the popsicle stick flower with their name on it from the box on the table and stick it in the hot lunch pot or the cold lunch pot. That way Miss C can send in the lunch count to the office without having to ask. She also keeps the flowers on her desk to use when she needs to choose someone for a job or to answer a question. She picks the flower and reads the name and then puts it back in the box for the next day. She told us that by the end of the day, everyone has been chosen for something. I draw 3 names, Nick, Tyler, and Kayla. They bounce to the front of the room and several other kids pout. Don't worry, everybody will get a turn, and the rest of us can work on the coloring puzzles some more. You said you were going to read us a book, Natalie says. As soon as we finish the puzzles, I don't trust my shaky voice to read aloud just yet. Stutz moves a chair, an adult-sized one, halfway between us and the door, still watching the hall. He looks so nervous. I watch his hand on the gun and hope he has better control than he seems to. Mason's messing with Mr. Worley. Alicia calls out from the back of the room. Mason, go back to your seat, I sigh. I hate you, he says to Alicia as he passes her desk. I hope you move to Pluto. Pluto's not even a planet anymore. She sticks out her tongue. Hey, you two, that's enough, I tell them. They can't help it that they don't really understand what could happen here. I have trouble comprehending it myself. The natives are restless, so I offer a bribe. The first 3 finished can choose something from the prize basket. And they're back to work. Toys and treats always do the job. Stutz is leaning back in his chair in front of the hall, leaves the display on the wall, deep red and orange and yellow. Stutz leaning back in his chair in front of the fall leaves display on the wall, deep red and orange and yellow ones the kids brought in for Mrs. C to help them iron them pieces of wax paper. His eyes are half closed and he's dividing his attention between the door and the computer. The shadows under his eyes look like bruises. I doubt he sleeps much. You could almost feel sorry for him, except that he was holding a gun on a room full of little kids. Patrick's head is on the table, one arm bent to form a pillow. Stutz reaches over and opens his son's backpack. He pulls out Patrick's jacket, wads it up, and pushes it under his head. Patrick burrows into the soft fleece. The unexpected tenderness surprises me and motivates me to try to make a connection with him. I walk to the front, pull a chair within a few feet of Stutz, and sit down, my knees shaking a little. He looks over at me, then back at the door. He doesn't tell me to go away. I can feel Jake's eyes on me from across the room. Patrick's a great kid, I say to him. He glances up at his son's face. His face softens just a little. Yep. He doesn't talk a lot, but I always know he's got the right answer if you call. But he always knows the right answer if you call on him. No comment. I feel a little silly talking to myself, but I keep going. You must read to him a lot. I look around the room like I don't care if he answers or not. No pressure. My wife, she does. Long silence. Nick lets out a whoop of victory and the other kids at the computer moan. Your turn, Kayla, Jake says. My parents always read to me when I was little, I say. Stutz squints his eyes like he's trying to focus on something across the room. You read much, I ask him. He shrugs, and then says, without looking at me, Tom Clancy, stuff like that. Did you always want to join the military? No. He sighs and shifts in his chair like he wishes I'd go away. But he doesn't run me off. Didn't know what else to do, he mumbles when I graduated. Long pause. I guess you've seen a lot over there, a lot of bad stuff. What are you trying to say? He turns to look at me, his eyes cold, his voice hard. You think I'm crazy? No, not at all. I keep my voice casual, trying not to show how much she scares me. I think that would have a big effect on anybody, that's all. You could say that, he said, watching the door again. I wait. You know what an IED is, kid? He finally says, glancing over me. An explosive device? You got it. Improvised explosive device. Crap will blow you up. It's packed into empty soda cans, paper cups, plastic bags, food containers, dead animals, you name it. People think you can avoid stuff in the road when you're driving over there. You know why you can't? I shake my head, trying not to show my surprise that he's talking about me. Because there's trash everywhere. The roads are lined with garbage. No way to know which garbage will kill you. You ride down the road looking as hard as you can for stuff that's going to make you dead, and you know all the time you can't tell it's coming until it's too late. He glances at me with a sneer. So if I'm a little jumpy to you, princess, you'll have to excuse me. I didn't say you were. I'm navigating my own landmines here. I just don't know what it's like there. I'm just asking you because I'm interested. What do you want to know? About the people. Were you able to get along with the Iraqis? Yes, I've spent time with Iraqi families in their own living rooms, talking about their culture. I've given their children candy and treated their women with respect. I've had little old men shake my hand and thank me for helping them. I'm not some meathead who goes around busting in doors and intimidating people, if that's what you think. No, I never. That said, he cuts me off and continues, if you try to kill me or my buddies, that makes you the enemy, you are going down. I don't care who you are or what your religion is or isn't. We'll hunt you down and we'll take you out. That is non-negotiable. His tone is steely, the volume escalates. Jake looks up, but I shake my head slightly. A tense silence hangs in the air. I try to angle. Were you able to talk to your family much? Had internet most of the time. I phoned some. His eyes were heavy. From fatigue or booze, I'm not sure which. I try not to look at the gun or think about his sweaty hands. How long were you there? This last time, a year. But I was there 2 years starting in 2005. Where's there? What part? Baghdad. He runs a hand across his crumpled hair. I guess there are a lot of things you can't really describe. He stares at me, narrowing his eyes. Look, I don't want to talk about it, okay? Sure, no problem, I understand. I stand up and walk casually to read the kids' papers hanging on the wall. Miss Campbell helped them write out the rules for life. She likes for them to be free to write without worry too much about spelling. The one closest to the window is Tyler's. His rules are: don't leave your bike in the driveway. Number 2, don't poop in the bathtub. Number 3, don't forget to pee before hide and seek. The obsession with potty business makes me smile, but the narrow scope of their problems before now tugs at my heart. The rules change today. I can hear car doors slamming outside, and I wonder if there are news cameras. Hensonville's a little sleepy town. A purse snatching at the mall gets top billing on our local TV station's nightly news. The police don't have much to do besides stop speeders until today. When kids start school here, moms worry about whether they'll have somebody to sit with at lunch, or whether they'll have a nice teacher, not whether they'll come home. My mother must be climbing the walls by now. I glance at Jake at the computer and wish I had a way to let him know I'm all right. I turn back to Stutz and say casually, I'm just going to fix these blinds where they're twisted. He glances at the gap in the blinds and doesn't comment, so I take that for permission. I reach for the top spot, which is conveniently at eye level. What I see takes my breath away. There are police cars everywhere, people running, news trucks lining the curb, the SWAT team guys suiting up beside a dark-colored van. I'm sure we don't have SWAT team. They must have borrowed them from somewhere else. Yellow crime scene tape has been used to block off the front of the building, and the parking lots have been cleared. There are 2 single-file lines of kids walking fast out of the building, with teachers and policemen walking beside them. They're evacuating the school, getting as many kids as they can out of the reach of Brian Stutz. I'm guessing they decided not to empty the classrooms on our wing. And then I see something that nearly drops me to my knees. 4 ambulances, all lined up in a row in front of the school, waiting for victims of the shooter, waiting to take us, to the hospital. Or my head spins, the scene blurs, and I reach out to steady myself on the windowsill. I turn to look at the children behind me working quietly, mostly unaware that their lives could be cut short at the whim of a madman. Dear God, please help us find a way out of this. I realize if I'm going to help these kids, I need to concentrate on the here and now. I walk away from the window, but I'm careful not to look at Stutz. Maybe I was a fool to try to strike up a conversation with him when SWAT team guys are suited up to protect themselves from him. My head tells me to stay away, but my gut says I have to make him see us as people, so he'll know who we are. Maybe then it'll be harder for him to. I can't think about that. I won't let that picture into my head. All right, we ended on page 110.